No.
And is it true you both are going to be working on Suicide Squad?
Yes.
Yes.
Look at that.
Yeah.
I know.
Dude, that's going to be... Have you haven't started production yet, though, right?
I started training.
Yeah,
started
training.
training.
There we go. And Independence Day, finally, man, 2016.
That's right. Yeah.
Why did it take so long, man?
I'm not doing it. I'm not. Don't get that look on.
I
Don't
love that
get.
movie so much.
So you're not doing it?
I'm not in. Okay,
Please?
guys, listen.
We are going to talk about
Is that your favorite? What's your favorite Will Smith
No.
movie? Is that your favorite one?
Probably Independence Day. I love Independence Day.
She
Well, you gotta
wasn't
start saying
born for
focus,
half
though.
of my movies.
Yeah, right.
I wasn't
You
around.
catch them on DVD.
I haven't seen any Fresh Prince, but
How can you not see any Fresh
That's-
Prince?
see what I'm saying?
everyone,
They-
he
are you
mentioned
serious?
Jazzy
Jeff one day
Yeah.
on set, and I was like, "Who?" And he was
Yeah.
like, looked around, I thought he was going to hit me. I was
Yeah.
like, "I'm sorry."
No,
Today.
that's okay.
Welcome, everybody, to episode 23 of the Pseudo Nerd Podcast for June 10th, 2016. I'm your podcast host, Josh Kiser, and joining me in this Blockbuster studio today, Mr. Josh Haddix.
Weren't all the Blockbusters shut down when Netflix came out?
Actually, some are still open. And the Hollywood video to your Blockbuster, Mr. Kyle Hoagland.
Why is there naughty and nice pleasure fragrance mist on my desk? I just noticed that. I looked over to the left of my mic and I saw this. What's it smell like?
Like
I literally just heard you spray that.
Horrible. What's up, guys?
Why are you asking us why that's there?
Right.
I'm thinking out loud, Haddix. We're on a podcast.
Why is this naughty and nice spray right next to my lotion that I have sitting on my desk?
I mean, we were talking about does your pee smell like asparagus? I figured we can just kind of talk out loud about things. So,
fuck
me, right?
Yeah, right. I was talking about relevant stuff like asparagus pee. You're just talking about your anal lube.
I'm talking about the then and now. I'm talking about this
Now
is
and then.
real.
That was a great movie back in the day. Which coming up in today's podcast, we'll be talking about some upcoming summer blockbusters, which may or may not be as good as Now and Then.
I can guarantee you this list that we have here, there's at least a handful of these that I think are not going to be anywhere near that movie that I've never seen.
You mean, come on.
Who's in that movie?
Christina Ricci, Rosie O'Donnell.
I've never seen
other
that
women?
movie either.
How old? I mean, when did this movie even come out?
Dude, it was when Christina
pre-Casper?
Ricci was in her prime. So post Casper.
The Casper era?
Yeah, it was post Casper and Addams Family. So right around that era. I'd say, 94, 95, something like that.
Like a League of Their Own type, or is that even after that?
Now and Then was 1995.
Yeah, what'd I say, 94, 95, something like that? Yeah.
A League of Their Own was before 95, wasn't it?
It might have
If
been.
it was, it wasn't that much more. I'd probably venture to guess it was probably 94.
1992
Oh, yeah?
was A League of Their
Well,
Own.
then I'm not qualified for anything.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, glad to have
we're
Hougie
bringing
on this
our
podcast.
expert Hougie on to talk about movies today. So
I'll just go back to doing the website.
just
You
go
guys
back
have fun.
to spraying your spray all over yourself.
Dude, I'd rather smell my cat's litter than this fragrance.
Cat has litter?
Jesus Christ. Yes, my wife's name is Cat.
That's just mean, dude. Talk about your wife like that on the podcast. I'm sorry, Cat, for a Hougie.
Oh, God.
She knows what she got herself into.
That's true.
Oh, a long time ago. Long time ago.
Not as long as League of Their Own was released, right?
1992.
I'm pretty sure 92. Oh, man. 92. I think it was when I was dating Crystal Hall. I think we all dated Crystal Hall.
I did not date Crystal. I don't even know who that is.
Yeah. Listen to this. I'm surprised you guys haven't seen this. Christina Ricci, Rosie O'Donnell, Thora Birch, Melanie Griffith, Demi Moore,
Demi?
Devin Sawa, Janine Garofalo. If this doesn't scream 1990s movie, I don't know what does.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, it screams like 1990s chick flick movie is what it screams.
Well, I didn't say it wasn't a chick
This needed
flick.
Freddie Prinze Jr. and Chris O'Donnell. Maybe a Michael Keaton. Oh, not Michael Keaton. Val Kilmer sighting.
You've got literally it's Devon Sawa. There's like no dudes in it. Devon Sawa, Walter Sparrow, and Hank Azaria.
Oh, Hank?
There's Hank.
No, I did not see that movie.
You guys know Hank, right?
Oh, everyone knows who Hank is.
Right?
Hank McCoy?
Hank Williams? And his son?
Hank Williams Jr.?
That's what I meant.
Nice.
Hey, real quick. Not to go off topic here, but
I think that's all we're doing.
I don't know if there is a topic at this point.
That's true. This has nothing to do with movies. Did any of you guys see the clip of that 12-year-old girl on America's Got Talent that got like gold buzzard or whatever? I don't really watch the show, so I don't know a whole lot about it. But did you guys?
I saw something on Facebook that looked like a mini like Taylor Swift.
Dude, if you guys have not seen that, it's worth a watch. Like, first off, she's really good at singing, but just like it's very emotional. I got like teary-eyed watching this 5-minute clip from America's Got Talent. Like,
you're also a big ball of emotion as
dude. Well,
anyways.
I mean, yeah, that's true. But it made me realize that if I had a daughter, I wouldn't be able to watch her do that kind of shit because I just cry all the fucking time. But
well,
you guys
do me a
watch
favor. Send me the link, and then we'll share it on the old Twitterverse.
Oh well, I can't remember. I mean, I just saw it on like Facebook or something, so I'll try to find it. But yeah, it's very, very good.
I watched a America's Got Talent video of an 82-year-old man singing "Let the Bodies Hit the Floor," which was fantastic.
Little different realm, but I see where you're going with that. I
mean, it's still America's Got Talent.
Here's the question.
It brought tears to my eye.
I was about to say, did you cry? Then there you go. All right.
You know what's going to bring tears to my eyes? Nah, you know what? I'll let Kiser do.
Dude, you just ruined my segue, man. I had it all ready to go.
I thought you were going to say that spray was going to bring mist to your eyes, but you know.
I mean, it brings mist.
I'm actually starting to light the fragrance now. It's now settling, so now it's not.
It
so
went
powerful.
from naughty to nice. So
It did. It really did.
Good product placement.
Sweet seduction fragrance mist.
Maybe they can sponsor us.
Maybe they will.
Work
it's
on
well,
that,
if it is, that means Walmart has to. It's actually distributed by Walmart.
Oh,
I mean, I'm fine if Walmart's our sponsor. I mean,
I'll take that.
I mean, I'd be fine if like Billy's Mart down the road took us as a sponsor. So
They're like, we don't want to, we don't want to dabble in that.
I mean, at this point, I would take Blockbuster Video as a sponsor. And if we're any luck, with us getting their name out there, they may have a resurgence in their customer base.
Golf clap.
Which brings me to the first movie that we're going to talk about for our summer blockbusters, Independence Day Resurgence. Before, a little disclaimer. So this is going to be our list podcast for the month. And we actually, normally we have our own list, but this one we're kind of doing a list together. And there's really we just sort of we went through a bunch of different lists of like summer, what they're calling summer blockbuster movies. And we've kind of narrowed it down to 5 that we want to talk about. And we're going to go through the list based strictly off nothing more than release dates. Just the easiest way to talk about them. And if there's some time, we'll do some honorable mentions. But back to that. Oh, and then one other disclaimer. Certain movies, like Civil War, X-Men Apocalypse, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, all have already came out. So we're not going to talk about those because we're sort of previewing movies instead of like talking about movies that are coming out or that have already come out. As well as the Warcraft movie, we're going to have an entire podcast discussing that one. So that one will not be discussed today either.
So tune in 2 weeks for that.
There you go. Little tease for 2 weeks.
Yeah, exactly.
We at least know what we're doing in 2 weeks. We're not sure about next week.
It's fine. We fly by our pants, much like
By the seat of our pants.
Randy Quaid did in the first Independence Day movie, right? No? Okay.
I mean, yeah.
He did fly.
So the Independence Day 2 finally coming out, 20 years after the first one came out. What was your guys' first impressions when you heard about it? And then what are your anticipations with this? Like, what do you think so far? From the trailers you've seen, the hype going behind it and all that.
Well, I mean, I can't speak for Hougie, but I know for myself, I think it was one of those things like when the rumors surfaced that there was going to be an Independence Day 2.
And I feel like those rumors have been around for a while.
Oh, yeah. And I think at first there was maybe a little bit of excitement. I think when I heard that Will Smith was not going to be in it, that's where the hesitations arose. And I was like, oh, God, why are you even... First off, where are you even going to go with the story? And how do you not make a sequel with the main character? You know, in any movie franchise, you know, there's basically a main character. I mean, you got to keep that person around. So it's like, I had a lot of hesitations, but when the trailers came out and like kind of the story arose of what they were going to do, I'm excited for it. I'm looking forward to it.
I saw the trailer and just the look of the feel of it. It really just reminds you like if Independence Day, the first one, came out now, like just seeing like the smoke, you know, like when the ship comes into Earth,
the first reveal like for it kind of like hidden in fog.
Yeah, kind of like how it was in the first one. So like when I first didn't even know that it was an Independence Day movie that I was actually looking at as a trailer, but then I started the first couple scenes of the trailer and I'm like, oh my God, this has to be that. So I think the trailer has done a very good job of hyping it, or at least getting people excited, because I think it did kind of grab onto the, you know, what we remember as some of the iconic parts of the first one. So I'm excited with that. I'm on Haddix's side where, yeah, Will Smith not being in it, it kind of brings it down a couple pegs as far as the hype that it's just automatically going to have with being Will Smith being in the movie. But it's definitely enough for me to spend money on it. It's of the ones that are on this list, I think this is probably the movie I am most likely going to see of the 5 that we're going to talk about. So I am looking forward to it.
So, you know, first of all, I'm like jacked for this movie. Like I'm excited. You're watching those trailers and you're like, okay. At the time, I didn't do much research ahead of time, so it's like, okay, you see that Bill Pullman, right? Pullman, Paxton, which one is it?
Pullman?
Okay. I always mix those names up. I like literally mix, like I don't, Bill Paxton was the guy from Twister, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So Bill Pullman, he's in it. Of course, Jeff Goldblum's in it. Did the president's daughter, is she back? Is that the same actress, or did they get somebody just to play?
I don't think it's the same actress, but I mean, it's his daughter. You know what I'm saying? Like,
they brought back the weird fucking scientist dude who I thought died in the first one.
Yeah, they bring back what's his name's dad, Jeff Goldblum's dad.
Which, by the way, that guy is like drank from the fountain of youth. How's that dude?
He looks exact same.
He looks exact same. Yeah, he was like 80 years old in the first one. He should be like 125 now, and he still looks great.
Isn't Vivica Fox in it again too?
Yes, she is.
She might be. Yeah.
And I mean, and from what I've heard,
again, right?
From what I've heard, there again, Will Smith and her's son is in it, but not the same actor. Just like, you know what I mean? The character, I guess.
Right, not that little boy, but not the
little boy. Yeah.
So,
yeah, exactly.
I mean, the thing about Will Smith's character too is they asked him to be in it. They wrote 2 scripts. It's the same director too. You guys know his name? Romlin, something like that.
M. Night Shyamalan?
Yeah. It's Romlin and Emmerich. I don't know. The guy does all those destruction movies, disaster movies.
Emmerich,
yeah.
Roland Emmerich.
There we go. I was close. I was right around there, dancing it. He's directing it again. He had 2 scripts written, and one was with Will Smith, one was without. And they basically, they asked him to do it, and he turned it down, unfortunately.
Did it ever come out if he just said no, he didn't want to do it, or was there something else going on? Or
it just sounds like he didn't want to do it, more or less.
You got to tip your hat a little bit. I mean, it's kind of one of those where you're gambling whether or not the first one is so good that it's like when they came out with not Dumb and Dumber, but Dumb and Dumber 2 or whatever, the one where Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels were actually in it.
Dumb and Dumber. Oh no,
the actual sequel, not the sequel they made like a long time ago where they weren't.
What the hell was that? Dumb and Dumber?
Wasn't it Dumb and Dumber 2?
Wasn't it just Dumb and Dumber?
No, it was Dumb and Dumber 2 with T.O. Dumb and Dumber. Dumb and Dumber was like the sequel they made a long time ago that they weren't even in. But anyway,
okay, whatever.
You take the risk of when the original's so good, you take the risk of, I don't want to say ruining it because that might be too strong of a term, but just kind of letting the fans down of the sequel. And that's something we'll probably talk about here with another couple of these other movies. But
and also, the whole discussion about why Will Smith's not in the movie, one of the things they also explained too was that the main reason why he turned it down, because I guess at first he was all about it, but because he did After Earth and how bad it bombed, and that was kind of the original script for Resurgence was kind of supposed to be like this like father-son, kind of story with Will Smith and his I guess would be his stepson,
Jaden.
And but then because of how bad After Earth bombed, which was also his father-son movie, he kind of really wasn't interested in doing what sounded like a very similar idea right after another. He felt like he just wouldn't have been able to put much into it after already burning a lot of months of a script that seemed very similar.
Well, that's what he gets for having his son go in a movie.
Yeah, seriously, come on, dude.
So, I mean, they write him off that he died in it, which if they really wanted, I think they're making a third one. I think
Let me ask you this.
Part of like a trilogy now.
Let me ask you this real quick while we're on this topic. Do you think there's any small chance that he makes a very small, like he's not technically dead, like at the end there's like this small cameo from him and like he'll be in the third one? You know what I mean? Like something like that. Or do you think he's legitimately dead out of the movies forever?
If I put my money on it, he's dead.
I don't think I think he's, it's like Schrodinger's cat, right? So he's dead for the time being, but if he decided to say like, hey, I want to be in the third movie, then he would be alive. They would say like, oh, he faked his death. I don't see any case where he like shows up at the end like in a post-credit scene or something. You don't
think it's like it'll be like one of the best kept secrets and like,
if it
all of a sudden
is,
he's in
fucking bravo.
That's what I'm saying. Like
kind of like Tom Cruise in Tropic Thunder type of thing, where he just out of nowhere is at the very end of the movie.
Yeah, or like
there's no credit to it.
Or like when Will Ferrell popped up in like Wedding Crashers, like no one knew he was going to be in it. You know what I mean? And then
so there's certain. It's I was just watching something. Oh, you know what it was? Is I just watched Interstellar the other day for the first time, and like Matt Damon shows up in there, and it's the same thing there. Like he wasn't cast, like it wasn't credited.
Yeah,
right. So if it's something like that, like really props to them for keeping it secret, especially him like just coming out and saying like, "Hey, I'm not going to be in it." But I don't think that's going to be the case. Like I really don't think he's in it.
Yeah, I think it's more hopeful for me than anything, but yeah, I think I agree. I don't know if he'll be in it or not. I'll keep my fingers crossed until I leave the theater, though.
Haddix, I gotta ask you this about this movie before we move on. Do you think that Liam Hemsworth and Jeff Goldblum are going to have like a cigar moment in the movie, or do you think you're like, oh God, please don't do that?
I hope not, unless it's something like if Liam Hemsworth tries to and Jeff Goldblum's like, like kind of shuts him down or something, like kind of throwing like some respect to Will Smith. Although I could probably see him doing it thinking people are going to fucking love it or some shit like that.
Yeah, just like fan service.
Yeah, but you can't do that and not have Will Smith. Like Will Smith was the one that did that in the movie. You know what I mean? So I don't know. We'll find out.
Will Smith find out?
Well, moving on.
Heyo.
Just to kind of jump on that real quick before we move on to the next movie. I do think there's going to be a lot of that call out stuff. Some Easter eggs from the first movie.
Oh, I agree.
Wouldn't be surprised if you hear like RDM's "It's the End of the World" at some point. Maybe it's Jeff Goldblum's like ringtone or something on his phone.
Yeah.
I think there's a couple of that. And then obviously you're going to see a lot of cool destruction scenes where they're basically like destroying major monuments. And I like that they even kind of like called themselves out on it, and they're like, "Oh, they love destroying the big monuments" or something like that. So I have high hopes for this movie. I'm looking forward to it. Haddix, I know you're anticipating it. Hougie,
I'm excited. As like I said, this might be the only one of the five we talk about that I'll probably definitely see. I mean, one of the others I'll probably maybe figure it out. But imagine this twist at the end of the movie where once again you think like, wait, Will Smith's not in the movie, and then right before the aliens like win or whatever, like Tommy Lee Jones and Will Smith just show up out of nowhere in suits and just starts wrecking shit. Huh?
That sounds awful, dude. That's just terrible.
I think that'd be the greatest ending to any
I think
movie.
it would be a crazy ending, but then people would be like, that's just horrible. But
and Men in Black is already getting tied in with Jump Street 23.
Jump Street 23, yeah.
Yeah.
Or it's Men in Black 23, isn't it?
Maybe that's what it's going to be.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, something like that.
What I can tell you, though, is our next movie has been very controversial in its sort of both the fact that they're doing it and then the fact and how they're doing it. And, by the way, Independence Day Resurgence, June 24th. Go see it in theaters. This next one, though, the new Ghostbusters. And I don't even know where to start.
Coming out July 15th.
Coming out on July 15th, yeah.
See it at your peril.
Of course, the big thing is going into it, you knew that they're going to do this all-female cast. And
which I think was the first thing that shook people.
You know, yes, it obviously caused some commotion, but I don't know if I'm totally against the idea of an all-female Ghostbusters. Like, I'll just say that from the beginning. Like, it's fine. It's a new take. But the first thing is, based on the trailers I saw, a couple of things stick out in my mind. The first being, I don't know whether this is a sequel in that, like, the other Ghostbusters took place and, like, this is in the future, or, like, if those other Ghostbusters never happened and this is supposed to just be, like, a new Ghostbusters, because the trailer is very vague in that. The way they kind of, at first they make it seem like it's in the same world, and then they, like, make it seem like it's a totally new thing.
Hougie shared a video with me while we were waiting for you about
who was that guy, or something?
No.
Guys, you remember the angry video game nerd, right?
I do, yes.
So he has a channel on YouTube called Cinemassacre, where he reviews movies and stuff. He's a huge Ghostbusters fan, and he always, he reviews movies, and I think people were expecting him to, see the movie and review it and probably more than likely shit all over it. But he actually he did a unreview, which is basically he's not going to see it at all and explained why. And I'll let it Haddix, you were going to.
I mean, all I was going to say is the way he made it seem like in that movie is it has nothing to do with the old ones. It's just the same name, obviously same concept.
It's a reboot. That's all it's supposed to be. But the whole thing that he was complaining about, and that's what I was thinking too, was it's a reboot. But the problem is it doesn't look like it's going to continue the story or like create enough substance to where a real deep storyline would go, where there would maybe be a second Ghostbusters movie. So it's like when you do that type of thing, you either do like a reboot where you start over, kind of like a Star Trek, where it's a brand new story, but you still had like the old Spock who was kind of like talking to the new Spock, and then there's the new Star Wars, where it's a new story with new characters, but there's still fan service with the old characters who are still reprising their old roles.
So you would prefer it to be like Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd and stuff show up and like, hey, you guys are the new Youngbloods, let's get some women out there.
Right,
and, like,
so give us a reason to go see the movie, introduce these new characters, give us a reason to like them and back them up, and then let them take the reins and move forward, kind of like a Star Wars. But instead, from what I've read and what I've watched from other people's reviewing is that they are in the movie, but their roles are not even like their roles. Like it's not Bill Murray is in the movie, but not as not as Venkman, right? Or
Peter, Dr. Peter Venkman.
Yeah, so he's not playing that role, and obviously
that's just stupid. Like either don't have him in there or have him play his role. Like that's
what they're saying. Like that's what everyone's kind of angry about. Like if it was something like where there was the women were doing that, or that's how they got like their proton packs and stuff, is that they they were working with Dan Aykroyd and Bill Murray's character, and then they kind of become the new Ghostbusters by being trained by the old Ghostbusters. Then maybe there'd be some sort of substance for us to hold on to. But it's a reboot, but it's not, and it's definitely not a sequel. So it's like, it's like, what audience are you trying to please here? You're not pleasing the audience that loved Ghostbusters, like, the 80s classic. And you're not, and the other thing is you're
actually probably pissing those ones off, to be honest.
So you're pissing that crowd off, and then you're trying to appeal to a crowd which seems like maybe more of the female crowd, who may just overall might not be interested in seeing this movie to begin with, especially because it just doesn't seem interesting to a female audience anyways, unless it's just because there's females taking over the male leads, I guess, in the original Ghostbusters.
What do you guys think about the casting that they've chosen for the 4 female leads?
I was telling Hougie this earlier, and it's kind of like what you said. I don't have a problem with kind of redoing something and change it up, making it all females instead of males. I have no problem with that. It's whatever to me. If the movies still look good, I'd go see it. I love Kristen Wiig, and she might do well in the movie. The other two white actresses might be whatever. I feel like
Melissa McCarthy has like gotten old to me. Like she does the same shtick in everything.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of over her at this point. But
like as a group, they might work well. I think it sucks that they literally stereotyped the black female in it, which I can't remember what her name is. She's on Saturday Night Live.
Leslie Jones, yeah.
But like they made her like a stereotypical like black woman in New York or whatever. Yeah, like why not make her? And I mean, this might be getting a little too
exactly.
intense, but
they basically did. Oh, we've got 3 scientists. Oh, and you're the sassy black woman. To join us.
And she's like works in the bus system or something like that. I mean, I'm gathering this from the things I've seen.
Yeah, this would have been interesting to have Leslie Jones play a role that's not the role she normally. I'm used to her playing. I guess.
And I can't stand her as a comedian. Anyways, I never found her funny on Saturday Night Live. I don't know if you guys do, but I can't stand that. And that's exactly what she's playing in this movie, too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I love Kristen Wiig. Like, I think Kristen Wiig's funny. I enjoy the movie she's been in. So, again, she probably might steal the show. And who knows? Maybe all the women together will be fine. I just think you do a disservice, going back to everything Hougie said, to not tie it in. How good of a movie would it be if what was Harold Ramis's character what was his name in the movie? Egon. Like how good would it be if, since he's passed away, you tied in where the other 3...
He's the ghost that comes back and like vengeance on people?
Well, no. They stopped doing it because he died like while fighting ghosts. You know what I mean? And so like they kind of hung it up, but then this big old thing happens. These 4 girls are like, hey, you guys need to help us. And like, we're out of the business. We're old. Yeah. All that kind of shit. And then like Hougie said, you pass the torch along. Like you could still do it without him. They should have done it while he was still alive, but.
Right.
Well, they had a Ghostbusters 3 kind of in the works.
So yeah,
before he passed away.
Right. And they basically had it, and they there was always like reasons. One of the guys kind of back and forth. I think it was like Bill Murray for a while was real hesitant on coming back, and the other guys were, to their credit, we're not doing it unless we could get everybody back. We're not going to all jump it and have somebody else do it. But they released a Ghostbusters game for the Xbox. Came out. It was for the 360. It came out probably 4 or 5 years ago. They're the voice actors in it and everything. It is a direct sequel to the second movie, and from what I hear, I actually own it, and I actually recently started playing again because I just had the nostalgia when I saw the Ghostbusters trailer kind of kicked in, so I started playing again. But from everything I've read, like that, if you want the third movie to wrap up the story, like that's the one to go see or to play, basically.
So basically, you're telling your audience to go get Xbox 360.
I sure am.
And buy Ghostbusters and play it.
Go buy the Xbox 360 from Billy's Mart down the road from us. Right?
again, Billy Smart. But anyway, to wrap it up, and not to steal what the guy said in that video Hougie sent me, I will probably not see this movie. Or at least not in theaters.
Wait, did you just say you don't want to steal from another guy and then you just proceed to say, I'm not going to see this movie? Well, I don't think that's stealing from him, dude.
Well, his whole, the whole spiel of the video he put out was, as much as he loves Ghostbusters, he's not going to go see it because he thinks it's going to be bad. So,
well, not only does he think it's going to be bad, he thinks it's actually going to be a disservice to what he already appreciates of the Ghostbusters. Because, Dan Aykroyd is the executive producer of this movie. So, his hand's definitely in this movie. And I think he feels like if he goes and sees it, he's just going to feel dirty to see it. But,
this is probably the movie on our list that I will not see, at least in theaters. And I might check it out when it comes out.
I will go, if I go see it, it would just be because I was told Tywin Lannister is in the movie.
Spoiler alert over there for anybody who's...
Yeah, seriously, spoiler.
You can Google the cast, and Charles Dance is right there, so he's the last guy on the list.
Maybe I don't want to Google the cast for that reason, huh? You ever think about
I had to Google the cast just because I didn't remember Leslie Jones, so I figured I'd help out.
I will say one positive thing, because we pretty much shit on this movie. I do think the visual effects look good. So, that's something.
That is something.
And another thing I just realized too is that it's the same people. So Melissa McCarthy is playing Bill Murray's character, playing a paranormal researcher.
Yeah, you could definitely.
Supposed to be,
that's the thing. It's almost that's why it feels like a reboot. Is but it's not even an original reboot. They're just literally we just wanted one nerdy white guy, one zany white guy, one crazy black.
You wanted one
person.
scientist. You wanted one nuclear scientist, one physicist, one paranormal activity guy, and a black guy.
Yep.
and then you got it.
That's what they did. One other quick thing about this movie, since the NBA finals are going on right now, and the Ghostbusters is sponsoring them, because they're not big enough to be sponsored by Billy's Mart, which is right down the road from me. But, they're advertising for Ghostbusters, and the advertising is so bad. I don't know who's marketing for them, but they're doing a terrible job, because the marketing is, instead of showing clips from the movie or trailers or the actresses that are in this movie, they're showing Kobe Bryant going out and fighting ghosts, and Spike Jones is fighting ghosts, Carmelo Anthony, why?
I don't know. I don't know if they're trying to.
What better way to advertise an all-female cast than to have an a predominantly male, sport doing all the advertising for your thing? I guess we can have some male guys do the do the work for the advertising.
So yeah, I don't get it. But anyways, if you're interested, Ghostbusters, July 15th.
Straight to DVD.
Yeah. The third movie on our list here is Star Trek Beyond. This one's coming out a week after Ghostbusters, July 22nd. And this will be the third installment of the new rebooted Star Trek movies, originally directed by J.J. Abrams. Now I think he's just an executive producer on them. The first trailer came out, and it looked like fucking hot trash for Star Trek movies. They just, a couple weeks ago, the second trailer came out, and it's got a much different tone, and I think it looks like a better movie now. Haddix, I know you're sort of the three of us, the biggest Star Trek fan. Not so much Star Trek in general, but the new Star Trek movies. So
I was gonna say,
I'm going to let you sort of give your input on this first.
Yeah, and this is not based on how it relates to the old Star Trek, because I didn't watch any of that. My dad watched it. So I'm not sure, some hardcore Star Trek TV show fan might hate all these movies because some reason or another. But yeah, I've been watching them since the first movie, obviously, and I actually really enjoy them. I thought the first movie was really, really good. It is the exact opposite of everything Hougie explained is wrong with Ghostbusters. They give you that nostalgia of the originals with the old Spock or whatever.
Leonard Nimoy.
With Leonard Nimoy. Well, I mean, he plays an old Spock because there's a young Spock in the movie as well, obviously. But so they kind of, they give you that little nod to the originals while introducing the new cast. Like you were talking about with Independence Day Kiser, they kind of do a few Easter eggs, from like the first series of movies and TV show. You know what I mean? Like they do just enough for the real hardcore fans while it's still a good movie for people who've never even seen any of them. You know what I mean? The second one I enjoyed, but wasn't as good as the first, which like a lot of movies. So I'm really pumped for the third one, hoping it kind of maybe jumps back up, maybe a little bit better than the second one. I think they've done a really good job. I think the acting from everybody is very, very well done, very, very well. I'm really looking forward to it. I thought it's looked good since the first trailer. Like I didn't think the first trailer was shitty, but that's just me.
The first trailer, the guy directing this one is the guy who directed some of the Fast and Furious movies, and it felt like a Fast and Furious movie in space to me. And they had the Sabotage from Beastie Boys playing. Like it just did not feel like a Star Trek trailer to me. And I'm not a Trekkie by any means. And from what it sounds like, Trekkies, first of all, don't really like the way they've taken these three movies, and there's probably a reason why, like, Haddix, you who are not a Trekkie fan, enjoy these movies because they're made more for the common fan instead of just the Star Trek fan. So the diehards are not keen on them too much. And that first trailer, that was like as opposite from Star Trek as you could possibly get. But again, I'm not a Trekkie, so it's whatever there. I just did not appreciate... I just didn't like the tone of it. I just didn't feel like a good thing. And I think I still have some sour taste in my mouth from the Into the Darkness movie because I felt like they just butchered that movie and it could have been so much better than it was. But that said, I watched the newer trailer that came out, and it feels a little bit better now. To your point, I think the cast they got are phenomenal. Like I think they all the characters they're playing, they do such a good job of playing them. If you know the characters from the old ones, and I know I've seen a couple episodes or a movie here and there, so like I'm familiar with them. And these people do such a good job with playing those characters, especially the guy who plays Bones.
Yeah, my dad loves him.
He's fantastic, and like I think that's what like even the diehards are like they can appreciate the acting, especially him.
Yeah, the casting was done well because my dad used to watch the TV show and the movies, and he like not a Trekkie in the sense that he didn't delve into it. He likes the new ones for whatever that's worth. But yeah, that's his like favorite part. He gets like all giddy when he watches it because it reminds him of like the old shit. So at least the acting anyway.
So I'll be honest, I never saw any of the old movies, like the Shatner and Leonard Nimoy movies. I was more, just because of my age. I was really into the Next Generation and those movies, and I did see all of those. So whenever I think of Star Trek, I always think of Patrick Stewart anyways, and like that version of it, and even a little bit of Star Trek Voyager. But that might be the reason why I never really gave these the two movies much, I guess. I didn't really give them much of a chance. I have not seen them, so that I said I'm prefacing in there. I had never seen these movies. I do feel like if I do give them a chance, I feel like I at least owe myself to see the first one. So,
you should definitely see the first one.
Yeah, the first one was really good. And I will admit the second one wasn't as good, but I'm a huge fan of my boy Benny Cumberbatch, so I call him Benny.
I am too, and they butchered him. They could have done so much more than they did.
They could have, but I still think it was really good. Like, I thought he did a really good job. Yeah, it maybe could have been written better or something like that, but I still enjoyed him in it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm hoping this movie will sort of redeem itself from the last one. I am cautiously pessimistic, I guess, if that's a thing.
I don't think there's such thing as cautiously pessimistic. I think you're just pessimistic at that point.
You know what it is? I'm going into it knowing what I'm going to get, in a sense. Like, I'm not going in thinking this is going to be the best movie of the year. I'm going in to just be entertained, have some action, maybe a decent story. You know what I mean? Some characters that you've known for 2 movies now that you like. You know, kind of one of those types of things.
Yeah, I'm just hoping it goes beyond the last movie and how good it is. So we will see, right?
Indeed. Literally.
The next movie, however, on our list, coming out a week after Star Trek Beyond. July is a very busy month for these blockbuster
indeed.
movies. But I guess when you're talking summer blockbuster, July is the heat of the summer. So it makes sense that these ones be coming out. And that one is Jason Bourne.
This guy.
I
like how he changed the tone and everything.
I know, damn.
Like he's about to introduce this movie.
If I had to pick it's based off a book series, but if I had to pick like a trilogy that has come out more recently, like that's for all intents and purposes like original, you know, not something that's been done before or whatever. Pirates of the Caribbean and the Bourne movies to me are like the best trilogies. And then they both
Lord
had
of the Rings isn't on there?
No, because I don't I consider that like different, I guess, because it's an old book series and it's been done in multiple movie formats. Like it's a different category for me in that regard. Where I think these are more original. Again, the Bournes are based off a book series, so there's some thing there, but I loved the first 3 movies. The action scenes are phenomenal. The car chases, it's nonstop. It's the camera work, the locations that they shoot. It's just loved them all. Then they, of course, Matt Damon left. The director that he worked with, Greengrass, I think it's his last name. I want to say it's like Steve Greengrass or something like that. He left, and then they made that 4th Bourne movie, which of course had Hawkeye in it, Jeremy Renner playing Aaron Cross.
I actually thought that was a pretty decent movie.
The Bourne Legacy. So I watched that one, and yeah, it was solid.
For what it was, for not being, you know,
it felt like a Bourne movie to a degree. It was, you know, it had enough of it to be a Bourne-like movie, but it to me, and I think it was because Matt Damon wasn't in it, it felt like the Diet Coke of Bourne movies or something like that. Like it was just like the lighter alternative to what you
less
really
calories.
wanted to see. Right? Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
But here we go. Jason Bourne. Well, Jason Bourne is back. Matt Damon is back. The director's back, and I mean, shit's about to get real.
Paul Greengrass, by the way.
What's that?
Paul Greengrass.
Paul. I called him Steve.
That's a good backup, just standard white guy name.
Exactly.
You don't know.
And, I mean, to be fair, Paul's probably his pen name, if you will, for directors. I know him as Steve. Before he became famous. I called him Steve Gigi. Now he's known as Paul Greengrass. So
good old greeny grass.
That's right. So you watch a trailer. It's a Bourne movie. There's locations. There's car chase scenes. Of course, now they're like driving cars through Vegas casinos because that's like a location they haven't hit yet in the movies. And then of course there's always that iconic like Jason Bourne still alive, line in there. So they're always shocked. I feel like these FBI guys are like always shocked. And then this time they got another old veteran kind of guy who's probably crooked in Tommy Lee Jones to play that like CIA agent or FBI, NSA, whatever he is. Maybe he's a Homeland Security director now. But he's gonna be bad because that's just how it always fucking works. And then, what's that, Julie Stiles? Yep. She reprises her role as well. So I am all aboard the Jason Bourne train.
I agree with you. I am, maybe not as excited as you are, but I enjoyed the trilogies. I even enjoyed the Legacy movie that came out. So I am looking forward to it. And yeah, it definitely has that action. The action that you don't get in every movie. Like, it's just good. Almost kind of seems like it could be real. Like, because they're, just fighting, but it's so good.
It's sort of like this era's Die Hard movies, in that it's like sort of the action trilogy of this one, but it's not exaggerated. Like, Die Hards were in that 90s action era where, like, everything was, like, over the top.
Yeah.
And this one, to your point, is a little more.
It's not like an action. It's not like an action hero fighting movie where they're doing just crazy shit. I mean, this is a guy doing it. I mean, obviously, can a human do all that shit? I don't know, maybe, but it's good.
If they were part of a government project that was built these superhuman military guys, then maybe.
Maybe you're Jason Bourne, dude. That's why you like it so much.
I can't talk about that right now. I do have some amnesia, so you never know.
Or just a shitty memory. But a lot of the headlines for this movie is basically that Jason Bourne is supposed to be the movie that's going to save all the summer movies. And then we've already talked about there's a couple of movies that may have some promise, and there's a couple that we think could possibly bomb. But really, Jason Bourne is like your quintessential blockbuster summer movie.
Yes.
As far as, if you're gonna pick of the five, not saying that Jason Bourne's going to do the best in the box office, though I think it probably will. It definitely comes out as, if you're going to see something that's going to get, like, your heart pounding, heart racing, get you to the edge of your seat type of action, it's going to be the Jason Bourne movie.
Not Ghostbusters?
Not to be confused with the Jason Miller movie. Right?
That's a home video that gets some other blood flowing.
I thought you were going to play more of the Jason Miller movie would be like playing with fireworks.
That would be him showing you how to make a trap and catch a squirrel. Right?
Right. But that's a great point, Kyle, because this list, as we're on our fourth of 5 movies, and we picked the 5 best movies for the summer. Again, X-Men's already out, Civil War's already out,
Warcraft we're talking about.
We're going to talk about, and TMNT 2 is out. And even those, with the exception of Civil War, aren't like the strongest movies by any means. This is would you guys agree, this is sort of a very weak list of summer blockbuster movies?
No, it's not, because think of the titles themselves. I mean, an Independence Day movie, which is, it's going to be hyped. A Ghostbusters reboot, the third Star Trek movie. Really, the odd man out is the one we're going to talk about next in Suicide Squad, as being kind of like there's been a lot of DC, movies coming out, but as far as everything else, if you had heard nothing else about it other than the title, you would think all of these would have a certain set of expectations to actually be, a good movie if we didn't know more about it. Would that be at least easy enough to say? Just based on the titles alone, it's a good lineup if the only thing we knew was, hey, in July there's going to be Independence Day 2, Ghostbusters, the second Star Trek, another Jason Bourne movie. Like, that's by itself huge. But now we know a little bit more about him, so I mean, some of the hype is warranted, and some of it is definitely dwindled.
I see your point, but I don't know if I think that, like, to me, summer blockbusters, by definition, blockbuster is a movie that is going to kill it at the box office, right?
Yeah.
And Independence Day off nostalgia, could it? Yes. Could it also bomb? Yeah, I think it could. Ghostbusters, I think, will bomb at the box office because I don't think it's been marketed right, and I don't know if it's necessarily the right direction. Star Trek Beyond, I think it'll do fine. I don't know. I don't think the other ones were by any ways box office smashes. Maybe the first one. They might have been. I don't know the numbers, but
see, I see summer blockbuster as not movies that are supposed to do fantastic. I see that being more of the summer blockbuster movie is a kind of almost like a genre of its own kind of movie, where it's supposed to be more action, it's supposed to be more titular, those types of movies. Whereas like the movies that you kind of see towards the end of the year, maybe the beginning, are probably you consider the ones that are going to be up for Oscars. the more serious ones, more artsy, the ones where Meryl Streep's going to be in, those types of movies. Whereas the summer
those aren't
ones
necessarily going to be box office movies. Like, to me, like Civil War, like that movie's going to smash box office.
Yeah,
Next
yeah.
Star Wars
I
would
agree.
be that. Like, those kind of movies to me are like, and I feel like in the summertime, there's usually a couple of them that, I think would like kill at the box office. And I don't know if I see that on this list. Maybe
for what
Star
it's
Trek
worth,
off the name, but I don't know.
For what it's worth, if it's done well, I think Suicide Squad could put up some good money. If it's a shitty fucking movie, this sounds obvious. This sounds like very basic. Obviously, if it's a shitty movie, it's not going to make money. But I think with the success of superhero movies, with the huge obsession the past few years with Harley Quinn, with potentially a good Joker, a different but good Joker, with Batman being in the movie, how much we'll find out. I think it has potential of being a blockbuster if it's done well. Now, if it comes out and it's done poorly, it's going to get shit on. Just like any movie, I guess, that comes out has the potential of being shitty and making no money. But I think I think Jason Bourne has the highest ceiling. Am I using that correctly?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's not going to bomb.
Then you
And
think
it
it
has
has the
potential to make a lot of
highest? You think it has the highest floor?
Yeah, it has the highest floor. There we go. It has the highest floor and a average ceiling as far as I think it's expected to make a lot of money, and I think it will. I think Suicide Squad has a very low floor and a potentially very high ceiling if
Yeah,
it's
so
done correctly.
We'll just roll right into that. It's our fifth movie on the list here, coming out a week after Jason Bourne, actually, August 5th. Suicide Squad, and you guys have kind of touched base on it a little bit. What I think what you're saying when you say it has this high ceiling potential, I think it's got one of those Deadpool-like possibilities where the internet is very abuzz about the movie, kind of hyping it up. And if it turns out like people, the internet community goes out and sees it and gives it great reviews, like it could turn around and start going nuts. But if the internet sees it and doesn't and says, "Oh, that was shitty," and like doesn't go any farther with it, then it could literally just bomb and be out of the box office in no time.
Exactly. Low floor, high ceiling.
And it'll be on the DVD section at Billy's Mart.
Yeah. And I'm not saying the ceiling is
Billy.
I'm not saying the ceiling is it's going to make the most money all year. It's not that good of a movie. I think I agree exactly with what you said with Deadpool. Deadpool was by far and large a very successful movie with the amount of money they made and stuff. And I think Suicide Squad could be that if it's written well, just because I don't know where this obsession with Harley Quinn's come from in the past few years. People love her.
Because people are like perverts, and she was sort of a
sexual character.
Yeah, she's a sexual character, and she's got this like hotness about her. But then it's also because she's sort of like
crazy.
like a slutty crazy or something like that, you know. Yeah. And there's just
people
something about her.
Love her, dude. Like love her.
And then of course, so the premise for those people who don't know is it's set in Gotham, basically in the Batman comics, and the villains from Batman. And if you've seen the trailers, you can see Harley Quinn and the Joker are probably the two biggest name villains, and then of course, Will Smith's gonna be in it.
There's the summer movie with Will Smith we needed, right?
Some of the some of the villains aren't necessarily bad. Captain Boomerang's in it, and he's a Flash villain.
Oh, that's true.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of that bad.
Isn't the Croc in it too?
Yeah, Killer Croc's in it.
So, they put all these villains together, and they're basically a Suicide Squad, where the name comes from, and they're out to be heroes, but they're like they're expendable, basically.
Yeah, they're being forced basically because they have bombs in their head that could blow up if they don't listen.
Right.
So
much like this movie that could blow up, the bombs in their head could. So.
If they don't listen, right?
Right. So probably one of the biggest things of this movie is Joker's coming back, and after Heath Ledger had this iconic performance as the Joker, right up there with the painted mustache of Caesar, whatever, Romero, or whatever, the guy who played the 1960s Joker. Right there is iconic. Jared Leto is going to come in here and play this new Joker. And obviously, there's going to be a lot of criticism. People are going to be very eyeing his performance down. And just based off pictures and stuff, it's a whole new style from Jokers we're used to. Haddix, I'll ask you first. What are your thoughts on him so far?
When I first saw it, I didn't like it because I was thinking more of an old school Joker. But the more I see it, it is based off of a interpretation of Joker in the comics, which is pretty close to. And then the more you think about it, they probably sat down and said, everyone loved Heath Ledger's Joker. We have to do something different. Like, we can't make it similar to him at all because then if it's not good, people are going to hate it. So they almost went this different route. And it might end up paying off. It might not. It depends on how many people review the movie saying, oh, he sucked. He's not as good as Heath Ledger's Joker. Well, he's not supposed to be Heath Ledger's Joker. You know what I mean? Like, it's right. It's like one of those types of things.
It'll be interesting because I think this is probably the first time that in the modern era of movies where we've had a new guy playing a recent character. When we were talking about like Robert Downey Jr. playing Iron Man, like replacing it, like we haven't really had that recently, other than the Spider-Man movies, I guess. But none of those were iconic. I don't think so. Yeah. This will be interesting. Kyle, we're kind of wrapping things up here. What are your thoughts on Suicide Squad?
I still haven't really decided whether or not I'm going to be truly interested in seeing this movie. If I were to go back on this list again, like I said, Independence Day, I'll go see. Jason Bourne, maybe. Suicide Squad would probably be the third. I think it really depends on how, I guess how, the critics see it, how other people see it. I guess I'll ask you guys, and if you really enjoyed it, I'll give it a try. I'm not really that deep into the interest of DC anyways.
Shame on you.
So a lot of those guys I'm not attached to. I mean,
we've got a Golden State fan and a Zack Snyder hater over here.
Oh, jeez.
But I'd be interested to see how Jared Leto does as Joker. I think that'd be the only thing that would entice me to go see it.
Does Will Smith
they did rewrite it
in this movie?
What's that?
Does Will Smith so you get a big name like Will Smith to be in this movie? Does it sell you that with the him playing Deadshot or whatever? Like, does that I don't know. Like, this whole time I've watched everything, like I could care less that Will Smith's in this movie.
Not really, because he's playing when he's surrounded by more iconic characters, so that it kind of muddies and it kind of waters down the fact that he's in it because he's not. It's not Will Smith playing a iconic or really important, I guess.
Right,
character.
He's not playing the Joker. He's not playing, Gordon or something like that.
It's not like he's coming in like being like Cyborg or something like that. Like he's just Will Smith playing. I don't know who's even playing
Deadshot.
I don't even know.
So I mean that's just it. I don't know. Like if they're trying to sell the Will Smith name, I don't think they are. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I just think it's interesting that, to me, I'm not like, oh, I need to go see Suicide Squad because Will Smith's in it. And I don't think anybody's really saying that. Like, that's not the reason you're going to go see that movie.
No, I agree. I think he might add to it. I think he's a good actor. So, again, if it's written well, I think he's shown that he's a good actor. So,
sure, absolutely.
He might elevate the movie slightly. But, yeah, I agree.
I think he was better suited in Independence Day Resurgence, but whatever Will, whatever you want to do.
Let's blame After Earth.
Yes,
I will blame that for everything, all problems in this world. But that's our list right now. So let us know on the pseudonerdpod.com fans out there. Tweet at us, reach out on Facebook, let us know what movies you're looking forward to this summer. I know Finding Dory is also going to probably rake in $1 billion itself, and a couple others, but that's the list we wanted to go with. So yeah. As far as next week, we don't have a show yet next week. We'll figure something out.
We're gonna try and sell ourselves to Billy's Mart. Billy's Mart, big city inventory, small town charm.
There we go. From the set of Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge, and the set of the other blockbuster Homeward Bound 2, Lost in San Francisco, I am Josh Kiser. He is Josh Haddix, and he is Kyle Hoagland, and we will see you guys next time.
Oh, have a good Friday.
See ya.